Fantasy football can be some of the best and worst days. If you're just sitting there, I'm just going to watch the footy, enjoy me fantasy, and some of your decisions, they just don't work out, unfortunately. And that was the case in this one. And I found a little bit of information on Crossland from AOB, Adam O'Brien in the press conference. It sounds like it was a bit of a burner stinger for Crossland. So this is a little bit worrying going forward. I'm hoping it changes with Brailey, and we'll get into him now. 49 minutes. It was pretty disgusting there. Point scoring was completely fine. Like, yes, he had 6 in negatives, which may not happen every week. But even let's just say he played the 65 to 70 at least, which was expected. That's a 40-odd point tally. And if he plays the 80, he's going to get there in tackles to that 50 mark, which is what we were expecting. At least a 70. But what's 49 minutes? It was 48 on NRL. 49 minutes all about. That's a shocker. So thank goodness at least it was a 30-odd and not an injury and a 10. There was a worry that he'd picked up a niggle or something like that. They didn't mention his minutes at all in the press conference, which was a bit frustrating as well. So hopefully that was just this 1 week thing. Like, he ended up with that try saver tackle at the end. They didn't give the try saver in fantasy, but on AFB late. So yeah, keep him on there as long as possible, surely. But or you could say, oh well, they'll keep him for that tackle, But anyway, that was a little bit annoying. But like with Brails, I was hoping for somewhere in the 40s, and then sort of 50 plus was like absolute gold and an extra. So not the worst in the world. We'll cop it and move on. That's for sure. And obviously, what we work out here is we can't predict what coaches are going to do. Like, we've seen that week to week now. We've seen it with Terrell May. We've seen it here with Brailey just in 1 week. The things that change in coach decisions some weeks, or maybe it's like, oh well, you've played a couple of big minute games in recent games, and we'll give you a bit of a spell this week, and then you get back to it next week. I don't know, but we definitely won't be selling him, that's for sure. And for Blake, 61 for him, another 66-minute effort. We can definitely see some consistency here. He had that quad issue earlier on the season where he was playing a little bit lower minutes, but since then he's been up into the 60s, and him and Tohu Harris, similar type of minutes they've been getting recent history, and we know that if that's the case, Adam Fanua-Blake is usually going to score more in that time, and if Tohu gets the extra, he'll be dominant in that front as well. And speaking of Tohu, he went down 6 points in updates, which wasn't ideal. But yeah, Adam seems like the guy with a little bit more upside at the same price as Tohu, so if you are going for one of those two guys, then Adam will be that guy. Jacko Hastings with a nice 61. He's had a really good season on the fantasy front. He's up to a 50 now overall, and no missed tackles again. Very, very impressive. And if anyone who started with him, I don't know how happy you'll be, just because he's been in and out of the side and been dropped and the like, but in the games he has played, he's done a good job. Jackson Ford, a good return from him. Anyone still kicking on with him, a 51 average for the season. Sean Johnson, a 55, so he's one of those guys that you just continue holding. Yes, he's not hitting the heights of Nico Hines, but hopefully you have both, and if you don't, then I understand some type of frustration on that one, given there's still no tries, no tries. The Warriors just aren't playing well enough right now, but he's still averaging 61 for the season, and they're on a 4-game losing streak. So, yeah, not good on that front there at all. But 55, still solid. You're holding, keep going with him. Dylan Walker, 55, another really good score from him. Someone mentioned last week that they were going to be bringing Walker this week, and whoever commented said it does seem very reactionary and chasing points, and he's gone out and scored the exact same. So, yeah, very impressive, Dylan, on that front there. But someone I've been spouting as a buy the last 2 weeks there is that of Dane Gagai. He's gone a 66 into a 54 over the last 2 weeks for a lovely 120-60 average across those two. Priced well under that 50 mark, so he's been great. Obviously, the kicking goals just adds to it, but he's such a crab runner. The tackle breaks are always incredible. He's still can buy him if you need a centre. Obviously, the play's round 13 as well. There's a bunch of them around that that can do a job. Obviously, Garrick, but he's not there around 13. Karaz, but Dane Gagai's going to score the best out of all of them. Yes, more expensive, but do you want the consistent, solid points from a team that's working it out? They're definitely working it out without Ponga right now, getting good wins. Dylan, Kai Piss-Paul, I almost forgot Kai. He had a nice update as well overnight, so he went from 45 to 51, and that kind of brings him back. And there was only 4 in negatives this week, which was great. Picked up a turnover tackle, I think, in those updates, which I do remember happening. I was hoping that Brailey was going to get that try saver, I think just before that, or not long before that, or after, not sure. Anyway, Mackay 51, a much better performance after his low one. We said he'd bounce back. He was good in this one. Good enough. Didn't look his best, but still good enough to score the 51. Lucas 47 for owners. Take it. Wasn't too much in this one. Disallowed try, which obviously hurts a little bit. Tohu Harris, that's the annoying one. Obviously, in this one, he had 11 in negatives. 35 tackles, 3 misses. Definitely not up to scratch from him in terms of his normal output. Obviously, the error, the penalty in the inside 10, but a lovely try assist. So, yeah, he's such a good player, man. I love watching him, but having him as captain, I think, in the head-to-head team, not ideal after the down date as well. But yeah, 45 for him. Just hold steady. You're not buying him anymore, but you're holding strong. Bradman Best of 45. He's been a really, really good fantasy asset over the last sort of month. He's starting to make back the losses that he had in the beginning of the season when he had a bit of a rough sort of 20s type of start. Daniel Saifedia, 45 for him with a try in that one. Don't read into that. Wade Egan, 43. Again, just not playing his best in recent weeks as well. And his scores are suffering a little bit with some missed tackles and penalties and the like. Adam Elliott with a 40, guys, in 57 minutes. The minutes are good enough. More minutes than bloody Brailey as well. Same with Crossland. But anyway. Oh, no, Crossland might have been just short. We'll see in a sec. Elliott, I just think he's a hold now. A 634K. All you need him to average is 45 from here, and he has terrific buy coverage, and you know he's not going to play Origin, so he's someone that I think that you just stick with in your side from here. Most people are going to be looking for mids for round 13, so you've already got one in your hands. Keep hold of him. And yes, if he goes down a little bit more, he averages 40, like he loses a little bit of cash, but it's I think the coverage is worth it round 13, 14. That's for sure. You can decide in round 16 if you like, but I would be holding if I owned right now. Greg Marzu, 36. He's still getting cheaper and cheaper. A much better tackle break game for him, but still the tries are very limited down his side at the moment. They're scoring in other ways. Chance, 34 for him with a try saver and a turnover tackle. So that kind of saved his score in the first half. He had a little bit of a tough run there with 3 errors and a couple of missed tackles. And he's coming back down to earth, is probably all I have to say. Like he was over 200 meters, 250, 300 meters in the first few games. He was so excited to get back, and that has dropped off a little bit along with the Warriors play. So if he's, if they don't have the ball as much, he's not going to be able to run as much and get his tackle breaks and the like as well. But obviously the errors kind of hurt him as well. And still averaging 50 for the season. But if you bought after the 2 big ones, you'd be frustrated for sure. But it is in line with expectations. This is unders, 34. But you are going to have lower ones with the 60s and the 50s, right? But just be aware that I still think that he's a mid-40 scorer, and you're holding according to that right now. Roger, he's a little bit of a more worrying asset in your sides, and people were looking to sell him a few weeks ago. I was saying that he was probably a better hold, and the Warriors just continue to get worse, and he continues to not get given ball. Super frustrating on that front. Made 11, missed 3. That's a little bit high for him with a penalty as well. So he's one I think he's probably more in the sell category now. He's just not delivering what you need. If the Warriors were playing better, and it's what we expected weeks ago, then I think he would be scoring better at that, but it's just not happening at the moment. And for him to score as many as Armstrong, with Armstrong very rarely getting the ball to even make a run, that's a bit concerning. So, and Tamari Martin's just not giving him much footy at the moment. It was a little bit better this week, but they just had no ball in good territory for him to even try and score tries. There was one opportunity, I think, in that second half. But yeah, Armstrong, really good defensively. 11 tackles for no misses. He had a couple of errors in there. Those rookie fullbacks, it's going to happen to them. But I'm really happy with his defense on the line, and a couple of turnover tackles with some hits as well, which was good. But yeah, 61 run meters there in this one. Didn't help him at all. Anytime that they kicked it, put it up, it was a big towering bomb that landed like 40 meters out, and he wasn't able to get that. There was very limited kicks to him. It was mainly to the wingers, and he also wasn't often getting into sort of that second and third hit up. So very, very different to last week. And in the wet, you can probably excuse it a little bit. Hopefully he keeps his spot. I think he was good enough defensively, and they've won 2 games with him at the back. I don't see them changing that after a couple of wins. So I think he's spot safe for that reason. Hopefully we at least get another couple before their bye where he is able to redeem himself on the errors front and get back to that. And I think he should. Yeah, Crossan, 37 minutes for his 23. Looks like he's okay with his shoulder there in that one. And then K-Well got injured there, which you think would have been great to have Jacob Laban on the bench, but they did not in this one. Alrighty, Sharkies Dragons. So Tom Eisenhuth, how good is he? 78 points in this one in 74 minutes with 66 tackles. So he's employing the Cam McInnes strat there and doing incredible work there with that effort. And the only main issue with Eisenhuth is he moves out to the centres. That he's the first one to move out, and that really cooks his scores. He goes super downhill from there. Nico Hines was 79 down to a 72, so no ghosties there for those that are worried about that. And again, we have to mention every week, look at how many stats that he gets across the game. Try assists, he made 26 tackles for one miss. There's 24 points right there. He kicks goals. He didn't even get a tackle break in this one. He's still got 72. He runs for 110 meters. He kicks for 357. He's got kick defusals. He's got everything in his game, and that's how you accumulate these points. And people are saying that about Cleary and stuff. It just, look how many stats that they get. And like 24 here, 11 here, 11 here. That's already just under 50 just in those 3 stats alone before you add goals, before you add try assists. So just be aware of that. And that's how it works. All right. Ravalawa, 65, absolutely enjoying himself on that right edge. And Lomax is not at centre. So I think Ravalawa scored 4 tries in the last 2 weeks since Lomax moved to centre, which is pretty funny and annoying for Lomax owners. And I wouldn't be buying Lomax on that in that world that he's playing centre again. And he loves centre for some reason. He plays so much better on the wing, I think, in general anyway. Little had a great game as well, 50 tackles for him. Had the head knock and went off a little bit early, but came back, which was good. But yeah, line break for him in that time and did good things. And he's just all over the shop for points and minutes, and it's too hard to catch. Britton Nikora, all right, he's back to some consistency. And there was a stat that came out that saying that Britton absolutely crushes it in the wet. He just makes tackle upon tackle and does good things. And that was the case in this one. 48 for 5 misses. It's okay, but he gets stats in other areas as well, making more runs in this game. So he was back to some consistency. And if you want an edge that plays around 13-14, then Britton Nikora is the purchase this week. Next week coming, that's for sure. He doesn't go up too much with that 58, and I think he'll get back to closer to that 50 average going forward. Ben Hunt, 58 for him. It was a better game on return. He was like 13 last week, so there's that. Hazelton with 56. He just keeps scoring tries. Very, very impressive player, in my opinion, along with Oregon Kaufusi. And I spoke about Hazelton and Kaufusi in the previous video, the 5 things I learned, targeting some of the middle forwards that have really stood up. And these two guys have. And Oregon's starting to make some good money now the last few weeks. He's getting good minutes, and he's been trusted with 47 minutes here. He's doing great things, even with everyone back. So good stuff, Oregon. Teague Wilton, 48, solid. McInnes, 46 in a game that was probably a little bit tighter. You wanted the 50, 52, 54, and that would have happened with a couple less missed tackles there and maybe an extra tackle break or something like that. But 38 for 4 misses. You want him in a 57-minute effort to be getting in the 40s, and you need it, unfortunately. There's no way around it. In 57 minutes to get a 50-odd score for McInnes, it's not going to come in attack too many weeks. Last week it did, but need those missed tackles to be down. And which it usually is, to be fair. So 46, it's fine. Not the best in the world. I don't think he's selling him over it. Again, another round 13, 14 mid. They're hard to come by. Good ones anyway. That aren't going to hit a 30 or 20-odd. Likely in a Hughes or a Salmon. When it gets to when we need him in round 13, that'll be what it is. DeBellin, just the minutes a bit low, 41 for him. Minutes went to Harmsele, which we'll speak about in a sec. Kale Iro, 44, doing it without tries and tries assists. It's very, very impressive. And I think he can be a keeper on top of that. If, there'll be games there where he gets a try or a try assist and he goes into the 50s and 60s. But he's always involved. Anytime you're running the footy 20 times in a game, you're going to get rewarded. And that's what's happening with tackle breaks at the moment. All right, Jaden Sewer, 43 for him. Okay, Blake Brailey with a try assist, good stuff. Talakai off the bench, a lovely effort there for that try. I think that's it's suiting him well. Even more than 20 minutes will work well. Lomax, 39. You're not happy with it. You're not super annoyed. Like, it was okay. You got some turnover tackles in there, which was helpful. You're holding, not buying. Rudolph there, 39 and 33. Very solid. very good efforts, actually 32 tackles there in that time. Almost the same amount as McInnes, eh? In 17 less, or 24 less minutes. There you go. Good stuff, Toby. Jesse Ramian, 37 in this one in the full 80. It was a good base stat game. Harm Saleh, why'd they have him at... They had him at 62 minutes, so maybe that was incorrect. He actually played 50. There you go. So a little bit of a lower minute game, but still scored well. 37 in that time. Like the PPM, if it was 62 minutes, wasn't great. But this is what, if you bought in this week, you were hoping for about a 40 average with closer to 55 minutes. So it would have been the case at about a 40 or 41 if you got the 55, 56. So you're not unhappy by that. Minutes are a little bit weird in this pack at the moment, especially with Luciano Leilua not back. Yeah, there you go. Look to him as a potential buy, but he has a buy in round 11 as well, so something to note. Sloaney with 35 was solid. Yeah, not too much else to say on him. Katoa, Williams, Laurie, Molo, Atkinson, 30. So he got a line break in there, which was a really nice run, actually. Good show and go. The 6 missed tackles and the penalty was his main issue there. So last week he didn't have as many misses, but he didn't have the line break. And the turnover tackle in there as well. Good thing for him, he's running the footy. He's going to get tackle breaks. He's going to get the odd line break and stuff like that. And they'll eventually have a try assist, I imagine, in there. It's just Nico's show at the moment, which makes sense. But he'll make some money off that 30 now. And you can still buy if you need him this week as a wing fullback, a half, whatever you want. I think that's completely fine. He'll be like 260. No problems at all. Faitala Mariner, 51 minutes off the bench in the end. Tuipulotu, 26. Flanagan, 26. A better game on that front with the try saver. Jack Bird, he's getting so cheap, man. Mulitalo, just come back down to earth since Trindle out of the side. That's all it's been, really. So sad on that front if you're a Ronaldo owner. Bloody, just you can curse Trindle. But that one, Manueli, 17 in 10 minutes. Good stuff there. And then Kennedy, 13. Hasn't had his best fantasy year, that's for sure. There might be a time where he starts to get things going again. Because remember, there was a time he got to like 250 or 280k and people were buying him. I was like, I don't think it's a great buy because he's scoring so poorly. And then he managed to score 30s over the buy period and do a good job. Could be a time where that happens again, but yeah, very funny. So that's the update for the last 2 games, guys. Again, I'll do on Mondays. I've got to get to work for like a bit after 8 o'clock. So I get this video out and I'll do the Supercoach stuff in the round results video there on that one. So thanks for being here, guys. We'll catch you in those results videos.